Welcome to the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. It is the 78th meeting of two schools that don't like each other very much. The kids from Laramie, Wyoming, the Cowboys, to take on BYU's Cougars here in San Diego. They have been in the same conference 4 separate times. Last time they met was October 23rd, 2010. 6 years ago, BYU got a couple rushing touchdowns and won 25-20. Wyoming last won 13 seasons ago, so they would like this one very much. It was a 13-10 final score. And in a neutral site game, 1996 in Vegas, the WAC title game, BYU won in overtime on a field goal, 32 yards, number 6 BYU over number 20 Wyoming. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Paul Carcaterra along with you. And Kelly, you saw both these teams when you were playing at Colorado State. You know about this rivalry.
Yeah, I do, and you're right. There was a level of hatred in this rivalry that you didn't see in many others. But the interesting thing for me, Jason, is all the players in this game tonight had to be taught what this rivalry was about. And I believe that both head coaches were successful throughout the week and this bowl prep at teaching these players what this game means.
Each team with 8 wins. Cooper Roth kicks it off. Aleva Hifo, the freshman, from the 6-yard line on the return. And Hifo finds a seam across the 30-yard line. Aleva Hifo to the 45. Kevin Prosser with the stop. It's a 39-yard return in great field position for the sophomore out of Eagle, Idaho, Tanner Mangum, who started 12 games last year. He is in with another season-ending injury to Taysom Hill, and gaudy numbers last year, freshman records for Mangum.
Yeah, and Tanner Mangum has a terrific arm. And Ty Detmer has been wanting this young quarterback to get caught up in the schematic part of what Ty wants to do offensively at BYU. So tonight we get to see that full boat here this evening.
Tanner Mangum so far this year has thrown 18 passes in relief of Taysom Hill, who was out with an elbow injury in the game against Utah State to end the regular season. And they go short to Nick Kurtz on the first play, something we heard Ty Detmer talk about.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Jason. Ty Detmer talked about Tanner is really a rhythm passer. And the best thing you can do for a rhythm passer that's also a young quarterback is getting going early, and the way you do that, some rhythm stuff. 3-step drop, get the ball out quickly, and that's what we saw in that first play.
Gain of 4 to Nick Kurtz, the San Diego native from nearby El Cajon. And just short of midfield with Jamal Williams, the tailback. All-time leading rusher in BYU history. It is Williams on the run, and he's chopped down into plus territory. 3rd down coming up.
BYU wants to establish the run, and Jamal Williams is the type of running back that gets better the more he touches it. So look for them to try to get him going early. We saw this team early in the year against West Virginia, Jason. If you remember that, Ty Detmer told us that what he learned is that he has to stick with the run. And that's exactly what we'll see here this evening.
BYU is one of the best 3rd down teams in the country, and it's 3rd and short this time. Mangum wants to go deep. And Colby Pearson, the intended target. It's 4th down on the way as Rico Gafford, the junior, was on the coverage.
Gafford had great coverage, and Pearson just went on a fade route, bump and run coverage at the line of scrimmage, and you force a throw on 3rd and 2 that's not real probable in college football. That was great defense for Wyoming on this first drive, but on that 3rd and short situation, Jason, is exactly what BYU has to prove they have an answer to. That's where Taysom Hill really showed up. 48% on the year, a lot of that was to do with Taysom Hill's run ability on 3rd down.
Johnny Linehan, who's been very good this year at pinning teams back inside the 20, bounces this one inside the 10 around Austin Conway. So a 17th punt out of 53 inside the 20 for the New Zealand native Johnny Linehan. So Josh Allen, the sophomore quarterback for Wyoming, who was injured last year, is just short of the school record for touchdowns responsible for in a resurgent season for Wyoming, +6 wins this year, and he's part of it.
Yeah, and a big part of it, and a huge arm, and what they're trying to do at Wyoming is get that arm to be more accurate. So, again, look for what kind of a start Josh Allen gets off to this evening.
He does not have his normal starting running back behind him, Brian Hill. It's Sean Wick, the senior, getting the start in his final game, and Wick is up to the 11-yard line on a short gain. Wick out of Oxnard, California. He's one of the leading rushers in Wyoming history. The only problem is he's been playing behind Hill, who's a possible NFL guy.
Yeah, exactly, and a very productive NFL guy he may be. Brian Hill is the real deal, a workhorse. Almost 1,800 yards on the season, but that's a good gesture, I think, for Wyoming coaches. Wick is a local kid, to allow him to play first in this bowl game.
They go 2 tight ends on 2nd down. Allen down the middle, and he's got a line drive for Tanner Gentry, his most frequent target on a 1st down.
And what you're going to see at 6'5", 222, Josh Allen is very good at standing in the pocket, pressure all around him, and it's that arm talent at the end that shows up. He found Gentry right down the hash, and it's all about arm strength at that point, because Allen could really not step into that throw.
That wasn't exactly a thing of beauty as it sailed through the light rain here in San Diego, but it was 28 yards and a 1st down. Tanner Gentry has his 2nd catch of the day. It's a gain of 5. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Paul Carcaterra, our entire crew, and a rivalry renewed. Kel?
Yeah, they have been in conferences since 1922 up until 2010, and a lot of these young men on the field today had to be taught during this bowl preparation what this rivalry meant to a lot of people in both communities, and I think they were well taught. There's already some excitement in the air here this evening.
78th meeting between BYU and Wyoming. First time in 6 years they've played, as the quarterback Allen misses wide. It's 3rd down. Last time, as we told you, October 23rd, 2010, BYU has had the series lead, won 7 in a row, including this one, 25-20. Last Wyoming win was 13 seasons ago, a 13-10 final score. They played the WAC championship as well back in 1996 in Las Vegas, a very close one. Number 6 BYU got the win in overtime over the Cowboys. BYU's defense trying to get off the field on this first Wyoming drive, and the sophomore quarterback Josh Allen sails it incomplete. Jake Mulhart, the intended target, and Dion Lake, the freshman cornerback who's really come on. Very strong coverage.
And Mulhart is 6'6", 230 pounds, and this was extremely well thrown by Josh Allen. And he's giving his big receiver room up top to go make a play, but Dion Lake did a very good job of just breaking up the pocket when the ball arrived.
So with the rain starting to fall in San Diego, something you rarely hear, Ethan Wood with the punt, and Juergens with a fair catch inside the 25-yard line. We'll see Tanner Mangum and his offense coming back after this. Downtown San Diego. We're in paradise in California. BYU, Wyoming here in the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Paul Carcaterra, and BYU has gone through a quarterback change for this bowl game. Taysom Hill, another season-ending injury, so it's Tanner Mangum at the controls.
Yeah, and this is going to be the difference. Taysom Hill was a terrific leader overall because of his experience. He was playing because of that experience and his ability on 3rd down as a runner. Tanner Mangum is not that guy, so he has better arm talent, and he's actually better made for, I think, what Ty Detmer wants to do offensively in the long run. So we'll see how that works out here this evening.
Tanner Mangum 8-4 as a starter last year in 12 starts, and he relies on Jamal Williams here, and the leading running back in BYU history to the 40-yard line. 1st down run for Williams, and that's a nice luxury to have for Mangum in his first start.
And that's a great way to put it, Jason, is when you can turn it and hand it off to a guy like Williams that's been ultra productive when he's stayed healthy. He's a make-you-miss type of guy, but behind this zone scheme that BYU likes to run, he's also very decisive, and that's what you saw in that play. One cut downhill and get to green grass.
36-yard run for Williams, who is from Fontana, north of here, east of Los Angeles. Williams again breaks free, and Jamal Williams loses the football, and Wyoming has 3 guys surrounding it. The Cowboys create the turnover as Lucas Waka plucks it from the turf.
And it is raining fairly lightly currently, but it's the second fumble in well over 700 touches by Jamal Williams. It's only the fifth time actually he put the ball on the ground, but only the second time the opposition has recovered it. So that is news in itself that Williams actually coughs one up.
I mean, he's basically a guy that never gets rid of the football, and he just did in a bowl game in his home state. Unreal.
Yeah, that is news for sure. And it's actually raining as I look up at it currently. It's starting to rain quite a bit harder, but Williams just simply does not do that.
Lungi stonewalls Wick. Second down coming up.
And actually, Jason, we do know where he is. He's sitting down in front of us on the bench. The question is why. We weren't told anything. And I think in the bowl prep, the thought was everyone got healthier, including Brian Hill. So I don't think health is an issue.
The idea is that it's not a Christian McCaffrey sort of situation, because Hill said he's okay and he would seemingly like to be in the game, but we've seen a lot of that, running backs not playing in bowl games this season. Allen on second down, and he whistles it wide as we check in with Carter.
The mystery of Brian Hill continues. One of the best running backs in all of college football, one of the most underrated ones for sure. I actually saw him, and this is a good sign for Wyoming fans. I saw him warming up on the bike. I saw him running up and down, and he gave a nod to a coach. So Kelly and Jason, I would expect him out here at some point in this first half. I don't want to speculate, but I don't think it's health. It's got to be something discipline-oriented.
Well, we'll see if he ends up in after the first quarter. That would be the logical time when you might see a break in the decision, as that is just dropped by Tanner Gentry. Rare drop for the leading receiver for Wyoming, and this rivalry game has been ragged. 0 for 7 on third down tonight combined.
Yeah, this is as simple as it gets. It's just basically a wave screen, and number 4, Tanner Gentry, very sure-handed most of the time, and he was going to catch that ball and go inside and catch the wave of his offensive lineman coming down, and he just simply didn't look it in.
That's a mishandled snap. Ethan Wood. Ball is on the turf inside the 5-yard line, and this is going to be big news for BYU no matter what. The rain in San Diego is coming into play.
And it's just a matter of really discipline and focus in conditions that aren't ideal. Morgan Unga is going to be the guy that actually gets to the punter, Wood initially, and leaves the ball on the ground, but you just have to spend more time with the little things when the ball's wet. That's basically what it amounts to. Anybody that has a chance to possess the football has to be disciplined and focused, and Wood was not on that play.
First and goal inside the 5. Jamal Williams is stacked up and taken down. Williams, who had a 5-touchdown game against Toledo earlier this year, 11 total in 9 games on the ground, trying to thunder it in.
And you can see the weather is obviously an issue currently, and the guys that aren't used to handling the ball or don't handle it as much as the skilled players, punters in particular, sometimes just don't look it in with that extra focus that is needed in conditions like this.
Average rainfall in San Diego is 10 inches per year. It's coming down in buckets. Mangum on the run. Tanner Mangum, touchdown.
Tanner Mangum is not Taysom Hill running the ball, but he can move with it. A very good decision, a two-man route, receiver tight end to the corner. L.G. Brown was the running back going to the flat, and nobody was open, so Mangum tucks it and gets into the end zone. A great decision ends up in the end zone for Mangum on that play.
Red Almond's extra point is good, and BYU has the first lead off the turnover. Tanner Mangum, after the Taysom Hill injury, leading this offense.
And a good sign for BYU. You can see him looking off to the right initially. Nobody's there. Get what you can get. In this case, it gets into the end zone. But the reason it happened is Ethan Wood, the punter for Wyoming, just simply does not look the ball in.
We check in with Kark.
Jason, the rain obviously a huge issue, and Jake Hollister, the star tight end for Wyoming, just looked at me, said he had to change his gloves. They're dumping their Nike gloves right now that are for dry weather conditions. Very grippy when it's dry, but it's like a rubber type glove, slick as can be when it's rainy out. Right now he's got like a golf glove on right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to deal with for wide receivers. What's that like for them?
Yeah, the equipment has to change because of the conditions, and receivers get used to wearing a certain type of glove for a certain type of situation, and that changed dramatically. I was talking to Wyoming head coach Craig Bowl on the field before the game, and he asked me, as if I was the weatherman, is it going to rain tonight? And what I had read is probably not until the second half. Well, that obviously wasn't true either.
You never know what's going to happen when BYU and Wyoming get together. And you're pretty sure this is going to be a touchback. It is. Park also gets a little tackier with a little bit of moisture.
Yeah, no doubt. And we do know he's not a very good golfer.
Wick on first down. We still have not seen Brian Hill, who's 6th in the nation in rush yards per game. The leader in Wyoming history in rushing yards career. He has not played so far, and as you heard Kark say, he's fine down on the sideline.
Well, remember what Wyoming wants to do schematically, offensively, is a power run game. Well, Wick isn't exactly the power guy. He's the changeup guy that's more of a slasher. Brian Hill was the tackle breaker. And so that is going to be big because the offensive line is going to have to get a feel now for who is carrying the ball behind them.
If the Padres didn't play at Petco Park, this would be their home. We'd need the tarp tonight. Fumbles galore. Williams puts it on the deck. The punter for Wyoming, Wood, does so as well, and Tanner Mangum has the Cougars on the board. We come to you from San Diego on the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania, and the mania is the rain here in San Diego attached to Brian Hill sitting out the first quarter for Wyoming. One of the best running backs in Wyoming history. We have seen reports of Hill missing curfew, being suspended for the first quarter. We've received no confirmation from Wyoming staff on that, but Hill was out for the entirety of the first quarter. He has his first carry to the 30-yard line, and Hill finally checks into the game. Kel?
323 touches going into this game, and so he's their workhorse. He's what this offense is designed to be about. A physical run game, and then the play action passing game off of it. We'll see how he responds here in the second quarter.
Teams are 0 for 7 combined on third down, and Hill gets the nod this time and keeps his feet for the first down to move the chains.
Go ahead, Jay.
That's what they were missing in the first
exactly.
quarter,
And I think that missing the ability to get past the free tackler, and you see that once in a while. Brian Hill breaks a lot of tackles. Has enough speed, he's decisive, has good vision, but the best thing about number 5 right there is that he breaks tackles past the line of scrimmage.
Hill on first down, getting his money's worth on his first drive of the game and dragging a tackler for a gain of 8.5. Friday. Once again on the ground, Brian Hill to the 50-yard line, and he will move the chains one more time.
Well, Brian Hill ought to be fresh. He had a bunch of bowl prep to recover from a brutal season where he carried the football extensively, and now you see him coming out of the game. But I would give that young man the ball as much as he can physically take here in this second quarter.
4 straight runs, 23 yards since Hill checked in. This is Sean Wick on the carry across the 45, and this is more like it for Wyoming against a BYU rush defense that's tough, but this is the Cowboys game.
Yeah, and that's Sean Wick's game, is to be the changeup guy that has a little more shimmy, a little more shake after more of a pounder, and Brian Hill in the tackle breaker in number 5 as well. So you saw that in that first few plays, and then Hill came out of the game. He's out now, and then Sean Wick is more of the slasher.
Wick again dancing this time. BYU was the best rush defense in the FBS the final month of the season. Part of that was because of a weaker schedule than the Cougars saw earlier in the year.
Yeah, but BYU is known to be very stout in the middle, and that's what Wyoming was thinking coming into this game. They didn't know how their power stuff was going to work when you have to kind of road grader those guys out of the defensive tackle position, and so look for Wyoming to try to get to the edges earlier in this one than normal.
On the ground again, this time Hill is wrapped up at the 45. Fred Warner, the California native, takes him down. 4th down. Both teams visited the San Diego Zoo this week, the world famous San Diego Zoo, and the Wyoming Cowboys hope that this punt is not a zoo, as Logan Taele is over to the sideline. Last time Wyoming tried to punt, the ball went through the hands of punter Ethan Wood and led to the only touchdown in this game. This one gets away and checks up right around the 20-yard line. BYU comes in 8-4, 12th straight season with a bowl. Squally Canada darting through the defense to the 3rd level and very close to midfield.
And just like Sean Wick is a changeup to Brian Hill in the Wyoming power game at the running back position, Canada is that to Williams. Canada is a smaller running back. He has a little bit more splash in him, and so you see the angles change for the defense when Canada comes in versus Williams.
Named Squally because when he was young, he was transfixed by the trees in his backyard that were waving back and forth in the wind and the rain, so maybe he's the perfect guy for these circumstances, though he nearly lost his footing as a flag comes in. Canada's across midfield.
And the footing, once again, he tried to make that one cut and get downhill like we've seen Jamal Williams do, but his right foot slips a little bit.
That was holding, by the way, against Wyoming. And the defensive tackle, Sidney Malaulu. So another penalty against the Cowboys.
How does the defensive tackle get called for holding? Remember what BYU does offensively. It's the zone running scheme. And so those double teams get off to the 2nd level, and those defensive linemen will try to hold up that double team and not allow them to get to the 2nd level. That's probably what happened right there.
So a 1st down for BYU across the 35-yard line. And the Cougars will run the ball with KJ Hall, who's shown his face with the injury to Williams late in the year.
BYU has been successful on the ground. They just can't close things out.
If only they could play with the football inside of a Ziploc bag, as we saw. 2nd down for BYU, and Jamal Williams breaking free inside the 20-yard line. And what a tough run by Williams. 1st down.
LG Brown is going to lead on this play and kick out, and then Williams gets up inside of that. You see 76 Norman Poling. It's the power game out of BYU. That's basically Wyoming's calling part offensively, but Ty Detmer will mix that into their zone scheme, and they have a very productive back in Williams to carry that out.
16th career 100-yard game already for Jamal Williams, and we still have 35 minutes plus to go tonight from San Diego, and Williams builds on it just short of the 10-yard line. Gain of 5 for Williams, 2nd and 5. inside the red zone for BYU. Williams again driven down by Mala'io, the freshman, in for the injured DJ May.
And Williams was trying to cut back that time. That play was designed to go to the right side, and he tried to get out the back door, but it was very good discipline by Wyoming defensively. And what you have to do is you have to stay to your gap, because even though it's going to the right, Williams has the vision to get back to you to the left. And so that was very well defended on the backside of that play by Wyoming.
Pearson and Kurtz, the two wide receivers on third down, and they will run it with Williams, who is stacked up and dropped. Is that a call that suggests they'll go for it?
Yeah, Ty Detmer told me that before the game. That Kalani Sitake will come up to him as the head coach and say, hey, you have 2 downs to get this, which certainly influences the third down call. And I think we see it on that play, although it seems like they might be able to, or coming in to kick a field goal here.
Well, Kalani Sitake, who has shown a penchant for the dramatic special teams decision, whether it's go for a fake punt or go for 2 on the offensive side in a key spot in the game, has decided instead to send out Red Almond and the field goal team. Long of 37 for Almond this year. This one from 27, and he is good. Get about 42 rain days in San Diego all year. This is one of them. Wyoming shut out for the first time in the first half all year. 10-0 BYU as we go to the studio for the halftime report.
Coach, you got your running game going with Jamal Williams, 121 yards in the first half, but Tanner Mangum only 19 yards passing. In an effort not to be one-dimensional, how do you get some sort of passing game going in this mess?
Well, once it gets drier, we'll be able to throw the ball a little bit more. But until then, we have to take care of the football. We had a bad pass and that turned the ball over, and then had a fumble earlier. So we need to take care of the ball better and play solid offense. And I think we'll be able to come out in the second half and be ready to go.
You've held them scoreless in the first half. Where have you been at your best defensively?
Well, I think at the front. I mean, our D-line's doing a good job. You know, we gave up a couple plays here and there, but for the most part, they're playing physical up front and. Yeah, they have 30 minutes to do it some more, and so we hopefully can get more disruption and create some big plays.
Well, hopefully it stops raining in San Diego. Get dry, Coach.
Oh, it's still beautiful. Thank you.
Welcome back to the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Two teams that average about 30 points a game held down in a 10-0 first half from San Diego as the fireworks go off to tell us there may be offense in the second half. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Paul Carcaterra along with you. 42 days out of the year it rains in San Diego. Here we are, and it dramatically affected the first half.
The weather won the first half, quite frankly, and Brian Williams didn't play in that first quarter. That made a big difference, but some things happened because of insecure ball handling because of that rain that you talked about.
Yeah, so Hill's out for the first quarter. Jamal Williams put the ball on the deck. He never does that for BYU.
Yeah, over 700 carries. He's fumbled once to the other team. This is the second time. Ethan Wood doesn't look it in on the punt, and that was a turnover on downs. And then Nick Spore doesn't secure the hold on the field goal. But when BYU had the opportunity, they were able to get the run going. Jamal Williams had 121 yards in the first half. Wyoming altogether only had 119, and Wyoming has to find a way to stop 21 in that zone running scheme in the second half.
So 10-0 at halftime, and the errors were plentiful, certainly. Williams and Hill, the two key running backs. Williams got a full half worth. Brian Hill and Wyoming will have the ball coming out of halftime. We heard so much this week about running backs not playing in bowl games. You start to wonder what's going on with Hill, but it was a first quarter sit out, not an entire game sit out, a la Christian McCaffrey or Leonard Fournette, and it does not seem to be Hill's decision. Short kickoff to the 25-yard line, and Wyoming will have really nice field position up to the 40-yard line. Drew Van Manen with the return for the Cowboys, and some post-play stuff going on. Downstairs, Carn.
It was my decision. That was the response by Craig Bowl when I asked him why didn't Brian Hill play in that first quarter, their star running back. Played in that second quarter. got the offense going a little bit, but he said the weather had a huge impact on that first half. He said couldn't get the dry balls out in time, couldn't grip the ball, having a tough time passing, obviously. They're not going to completely abandon the passing game because they don't want to be one-dimensional defensively, said the line of scrimmage. Very difficult stopping Jamal Williams. 121 yards for the stud running back for BYU.
Hill on the run on first down. How's the weather right now down there, Cart?
It's drizzling. I mean, I'm wetter than a duck, but it's drizzling right now. My concern right now is the field, not so much the precipitation in the air.
Yeah.
The field's a mess, and it's slippery. The rain has definitely let up compared to the first half.
Yeah, I think that field is the issue in the second half because they can rotate balls in there and keep them relatively dry as long as the rain has subsided a little bit, and it looks like it has. But now it's about field conditions, people cutting, running routes, doing all those things.
Hill on the Wildcat formation, and he sets up a third down and long. So as a quarterback, he played the position. As a quarterback, what do you do to help receivers with the field torn up?
And actually, I think receivers have the advantage. If the quarterback is able to handle the football, the receivers know where they're going. They know the routes they're running. Defense is always a reactionary process. And so I think the pass game, the offense wins as long as the quarterback can handle the football and receivers can look it in properly. But in terms of getting from point A to point B, receivers, I think, have that advantage.
So Allen with the bare hands. It's third down for Wyoming. And Allen slings it over the middle for Hollister, who does have a first down for Wyoming.
And we might see Hollister more in this second half because of plays just like that. It's a big body right over the football. Josh Allen sees him quickly. He's able to just put it on his numbers, and those are the type of throws that you'll probably see, at least to get Josh Allen comfortable with throwing the football in this second half.
Hollister, a converted quarterback, went to tight end in junior college after opening his FBS career at Nevada. And Wick checking in for a Hill. He gets met and dropped. Not a lot of running room at all. Butch Pau drilled him out of the Fun Belt, as they say. 6 Sun Belt teams in bowls this year. Wick out of the backfield on second down. Gets undercut to the 30-yard line, and it's again third down and doable for Wyoming.
A great look that time by Josh Allen, and this is what the Wyoming offensive coaching staff wants to see more out of Josh Allen. It was a simple concept. Tanner Gentry was running a curl route about 12 yards deep, and then Wick was running a swing route. If there's leverage underneath that route by Gentry, you just dump it out to receiver on time, on target, and you get yards after the catch.
They've converted 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 2. Allen got caught in between that time, made a late choice, and they're going to end up 2 yards short off a late pitch. Kel, what do you do here?
Yeah, I think this is go for it territory right here. We see Brian Hill coming back into the game, but Josh Allen needs to pick a lane right there. It's a read where you just go to the end man on the line of scrimmage, called a speed option. And if he takes you, and the end man kind of soft played it a little bit, but you have to pitch it to the guy who's going to carry it more quickly than Allen did there.
First full year as a starting quarterback for Allen. Play action fake. Loads of time. Allen whips it out for a first down at the 19-yard line. Josh Harshman with his 5th grab of the year, the sophomore on a Casper.
On the 4th and short, Jacob Hollister was actually the prime target, the tight end going down the middle of the field. You can see Allen look at him there, and then he gets off to Harshman late. Once again, a very good read and an accurate pass coming out on time by Josh Allen.
Best drive of the game for Wyoming to open the second half. Hill not terribly decisive on that run. Second down coming up as Warner tries to rip it away. Fred Warner, who played a county championship game in this stadium as well. The former home of the Padres and still the home of the Chargers.
Jason, you know, sometimes they call running backs mutters, where they're very good in bad weather. Brian Hill doesn't seem to be that guy right now. He seems to be kind of dancing around, indecisive, as you said, and he has to make a decision and just get downhill.
Play action, Allen looking the other way. Allen got caught in between. Too much for Hill and a little bit short of Harshman. It's third down.
And I don't think Josh Allen was very secure in that decision. You had Hill coming out of the backfield, and Harshman started to the corner and then was going to actually started to the post and was coming back to the corner late. And it was almost like Josh Allen had a question when he let that ball go, and it ended up between two of its receivers.
Where do you go here? Third down and long.
If it's 3 by 1 and they over leverage the three sides, you have a single receiver down at the bottom. That would be a nice place to go.
That's Mulhart. That's where Allen's looking. Now he flushes himself out of the pocket. Allen seeking the marker. Allen dives, and we'll see where they mark him. Right around the 9-yard line. This is going to be close.
I think the spot, Jason, is going to bring him up about a yard short, maybe just inside a yard, but a very good decision once again by Allen. We talked about Mulhart, the one-on-one receiver, and then this was the result of that great decision.
It depends on where Allen stepped out. And Wyoming runs a play very quickly there, not even worrying about the review, and ends up with a first down.
I think it caught BYU by the surprise defensively. I think BYU is anticipating that this play would be looked at. It's a hurry up. Allen gets under center, quarterback sneak, and they convert.
First blush, I would have said he actually had the first down on the prior play, that he didn't step out of bounds. No matter what, it's first and goal.
Yeah, that was not a very good spot. That came up about a yard short.
Hill the tailback, first and goal, first red zone trip for Wyoming tonight. Hill met by Warner. Again, BYU without starting linebacker Francis Bernard. The coach's decision for him not to play. He is here. He will not play, and it's second and goal.
Yeah, Fred Warner at that linebacker position on the strong side is very active, and then Butch Pa'u is in the middle. Harvey Longy has been getting a great deal of time at the outside linebacker position. Longy has been a defensive end, was a great middle linebacker a year ago for BYU defensively.
Outstanding running back coming out of high school, 4,000-yard rusher for his career. Hollister, the tight end, in motion. Hill once again looking for the end zone. Touchdown! '35th career touchdown for Brian Hill.
You have to think, Jason, that was a very important drive for Wyoming offensively, and this is what Hill does. He gets yards after contact with the best of them. That was a muddy look from the beginning, but you saw his power in the end, and Wyoming got a good push into the end zone.
You would imagine he'd have a lot in the tank for the fourth quarter. Again, an odd-looking exchange between the holder Spoor and his kicker Roth. 8 minutes, 25 seconds. A fourth down conversion from Allen to Harshman to keep it going into the red zone for the first time tonight. Wyoming looking for its first win against BYU since '03 is on the board. Some linebacker legacies for Wyoming. Eric Nzacha's brother Mark, a Dallas Cowboy linebacker, a former Wyoming Cowboy, and Michael Walker, the 2013 NLCS MVP. His brother Lucas, a starting linebacker for the Wyoming Cowboys as well. Very notable because we are in a former baseball stadium. And by the way, Lucas Walker, who had an elbow injury earlier this year, tore an elbow ligament, and coaching staff was talking to him, said, hey, do you want to go ahead and keep going or what? And he said, my elbow's a long way from my heart. Tough guy. He's not the one that's supposed to be worried about the Tommy John injury, though. Lucas Walker. His brother Michael is with Paul Carcaterra.
Indeed, Michael Walker, the star pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. But tonight, you're Lucas's older brother, and a proud one. You told me earlier that you try to catch every game online or on television. You've been to a few of his games in person this year. What do you enjoy the most about watching your brother play?
You know, I like you said, I've been able to catch a few games in Laramie and then able to catch this bowl game here. And, you know, I just love watching him go out there and compete. You know, go out there and play with his teammates, and go out there and battle as hard as he can. You know, it's been a lot of fun watching them play this season and have such a turnaround season this year. And so it's been a lot of fun watching them come out here and you know, have a great successful season and get a bowl bid.
Coach Bowl told me actually earlier in the week that your brother is the toughest kid on this football team. Where did he get that toughness from?
Hey, he is a tough kid. Now, no, I would probably back in the backyard, you know, whenever I'd have to put a little whooping on him back there, you know. No, he's always been a tough kid. He's grown up in a house full of boys, and you know, he's a tough kid. You know, I think all the years that he's played at Laramie, I don't think I've ever seen him wear sleeves. And as cold as it is in Laramie, you know, he's very tough, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him play.
It probably helps that your dad was a wrestler and a farmer as well, and a tough guy. You're 2-0 in San Diego as a pitcher at Petco Park. You're getting ready for spring training. You're gearing up. What do you like the most about St. Louis's chances in 2017?
You know, I like our chances this next year. You know, we made some off-season moves that I think really help our team and our club out. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to getting down to spring training, seeing all the guys again, and getting this season going. You know, I think everybody's putting in a lot of hard work this off-season, getting prepared for spring training and this next season. And I'm very excited about it, though, for sure.
Well, congrats with all the great success. Keep up the awesome work. I know the guy up in the booth, Jason Benetti, is a huge baseball fan and a fan of Michael Walker, so great stuff.
I appreciate it. Let's go, Pokes.
Let's go, Pokes, he says. Cardinal fans are just happy that they stole Dexter Fowler from the Cubs. That's what they're happy about. Nice to hear from Michael about his brother Lucas. And by the way, speaking of baseball, the Cowboys jerseys look like those old Padres things they used to wear when they played in this ballpark. 3rd down and 2 off a couple runs from Jamal Williams. Mangum off play action. Williams helped him with a block, and Mangum gets it out for a 1st down to Jonah Trineman, one of his favorite targets. We were talking to Ty Detmer, and he said Trineman and Kurtz, the 2 guys who've had catches on this drive, are the guys that Mangum really sinks with.
And it's because of Kurtz's length and Trineman's speed to get vertical, but that was a great high point catch by Trineman. The play action pass on 3rd and 2, and Wyoming, specifically Lucas Walker, was coming and trying to get to the quarterback. Play action pass, and it was a very good finish by Trineman outside.
Play action again. Mangum in his first start of the year looking for Kurtz. And Nick Kurtz inside the 5-yard line wins the battle. The San Diego native with a big hit for 39. 1st and goal, pending a marker.
Well, Ty Detmer has definitely seen enough out of Wyoming's secondary.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. That penalty's declined. Result of play, 1st down.
That was the 3rd play action pass on this drive, so run it effectively, and then Ty Detmer is trying to get after that secondary now. Underthrown. Antonio Hall tries to make a play. The pass interference really doesn't matter because the 6'6" Nick Kurtz comes down with it anyway.
Longest play of the game for either team on a 39-yard strike. Now Williams is bottled up, losing about a half yard.
A little better run defense out of Wyoming results in Ty Detmer saying, okay, if you're defending the run better, it's because your safeties are sneaking down and getting their nose in that run game. So it's play action pass, try to get one-on-ones outside, and that's what you see out of Ty Detmer now. But now they have to finish on this drive. Find a way to close this one out in the end zone if they can.
3 runs, 3 passes on the drive. Williams, the single setback. Mangum. Kurtz. Did he get the foot down? No.
Mangum's pass incomplete. Brought down out of bounds by Kurtz.
It's an unbelievable catch by Nick Kurtz, but I think that right foot is going to come down out of bounds. Remember, throwing it up high to the 6'6" Kurtz makes a great play on the football, but I don't believe that right foot came down in bounds, and I believe it was the it was the first foot to come down. Actually, it was the left that came down out of bounds. Antonio Hall on the coverage. Good job of pressing Kurtz outside, but Tanner Mangum, the quarterback, has to give Kurtz a little more room inside. High point and let 6'6" go up and use that frame.
Mangum on the run. Lobs it. Tipped. Batted around. Touchdown! Tanner Baldery in the back of the end zone. Oh my, Mangum with more heroics.
Well, it was a horrific decision by Tanner Mangum to begin with, but Tanner Baldery is going to end up bailing him out. But the safety, Andrew Wingert, I believe, is the first defender for Wyoming to get a hand on the ball, and you have to either intercept it or bat this thing to the ground, and Baldery ended up coming down with it in the end zone after the quadruple ricochet.
2 Hail Marys last year for Mangum against Nebraska and Boise State. This one with a much shorter field, but the same type of thing. There is some magic in Tanner Mangum and Tanner Baldery on the back end of it. BYU's back in. That's the annual Poinsettia Bowl luncheon with BYU and Wyoming at the USS Midway on Tuesday. You got over there very briefly.
I did.
Right? Took a
walk down there. It was beautiful. I saw the Wyoming faithful. Their band was playing there. It was a great sight.
That last play wasn't exactly the band is on the field, but
No.
Tanner Baldery off a couple tips ends up with a touchdown, and fortune smiles upon BYU on its opening drive of the second half to lead again by 10. And this kickoff goes out of bounds. Not good news for Corey Edwards and BYU. Flea flicker off the penalty, and Allen is intercepted. Picked off by Dion Lake. He had a pick 6 against Boise State. That's his 3rd interception of the year, and it's a big one.
This is the risk, calling this type of play. It's kind of the quick transition play, the flea flicker, but sometimes young quarterbacks, when you call a play like this, they think it's a given. As a quarterback, you still have to read it, and there was absolutely nothing here. The give to Hill and the pitch back to the quarterback, and you can see it very well defended. And I don't know that the quarterback, Josh Allen, actually saw Dion Lake outside, but here you see Micah Hanneman. He's taken off the hook on that one by Dion Lake.
BYU forces its 30th turnover of the year, 2nd most in the nation. Just 3 behind Washington. Jamal Williams on first down. And look, Wyoming gets the penalty. Hanneman leaves, and suddenly you go for it all.
Yeah.
The rush came in, and bollocksed up the play, and then Allen decided to make an error.
And I think that quick change offense, the theory is that quick transition, you kind of catch the defense sleeping. I think it's completely overrated this day and age because everybody does it. So now the defense is playing conservatively, typically after that quick change, and you saw Dion Lake make a big play for BYU there.
Mangum play action. Mangum over the middle, and this is brought in. Colby Pearson at the 41-yard line.
And this is where Tanner Mangum is different than Taysom Hill. When Tanner Mangum gets on the move, he's still looking to throw the ball down the field. Typically, Taysom Hill in that situation was off and running, and this is why receivers like the fact that they're going to get more out of the passing game, most likely now, with Mangum playing.
Like many tourists in San Diego, Colby Pearson lost his fanny pack here. He'll go to the lost and found to retrieve it after the play. And there they keep it on the ground for a gain of 4 for Jamal Williams. And BYU, which had an awful travel day getting here, just to start this trip. It took about 12 hours. There was a snowstorm in Provo. They had to end up busing to Salt Lake City to get here 1 in the morning the day after they were supposed to. Not looking much worse for the wear later on in the week as the third quarter comes to an end. Tanner Mangum, pinball wizard, strikes again for BYU. The Cougars with a 2-score lead. Fourth quarter coming. As BYU leads by 10 here. Kel, on the spot, who you got? National champion.
Alabama.
Yep.
Yeah.
Careful on that limb.
On the spot, what did you want me to do?
I thought maybe you'd go ahead with an underdog.
Nope.
Hypothetically. Second down for BYU off the turnover. And Williams will run it third down coming up. Your keys to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Well, obviously, I like Alabama, but the first thing you have to do with them is you have to outscore their defense. Their defense can not only take it away, but score points. You have to win the special teams battle if you're Washington, and then Jalen Hurts cannot hurt you in the run game, and Alabama invoked the best unit in college football, which is their defense, and then that championship pedigree makes somebody beat you at your best, and I'm not sure that's possible this year.
But Washington's not been there either. It's a different setting for the Huskies. 3rd and 6, BYU trying to salt this game away and make it 8 in a row against Wyoming. It's Jamal Williams breaking free. Williams into open space into the end zone. His final college game is going swimmingly in his home state.
Wyoming was loading up thinking it was going to be a pass, and then it's a hat on a hat up front. Jamal Williams has that burst, and then Jonah Trineman puts Antonio Hall on the backside, and Williams just really waltzes into the end zone. A wide receiver working hard down the field was able to get Williams all the way to pay dirt.
Nearing 200 yards for Jamal Williams, who was dinged up this year, took a year off for personal reasons. Jamal Williams from 36 yards. Trineman got him in.
You love wide receivers that work downfield. They a lot of times turn 5 or 6 into a touchdown like this.
Jamal Williams, the touchdown for BYU. You see the pink headband he's wearing. That is for Reno Mahe, his running backs coach, whose daughter Elsie died in late November. A terrible accident at home. The 3-year-old Elsie Mahe was tangled up in a cord attached to some blinds at Reno, and Sonny Mahe had to take her to the hospital. It was a week-long battle, and Reno Mahe's daughter Elsie passed away, and Reno wearing those pink shoes. A lot of folks on the BYU sideline wearing pink, with that being Elsie's favorite color. So one of 7 children for Reno and Sonny Mahe passed away in late November, and the team has absolutely rallied behind the running backs coach for BYU. Rico Gafford on the return for Wyoming. I'm just talking to Kalani Sitake, the head coach for BYU, about how this team has grouped behind Reno Mahe, the flag that they had pregame with signatures from the entire team. Sonny Mahe used to do something called Cookie Wednesday. She would bring cookies for the players. When Elsie was in the hospital, the players brought cookies for Cookie Wednesday to the family for Reno Mahe and his wife, and just an absolutely terrible accident. But BYU showing the strength of football and family, as Kalani Sitake has preached all year long for the BYU Cougars, as Wyoming embarks on this drive at the start of quarter number 4. Can't even imagine dealing with a football season and having something like that go down in your home.
Yeah, and we know the game goes on, but it's sometimes hard to fathom how you go on in situations like that. It's beyond a heavy heart. It's really hearts that will be changed forever, and certainly our prayers go out to the Mahe family.
Top 10 rush defense, BYU this year. Hill on the toss. Brian Hill surging across the 50-yard line and a first down. Carton.
Well, it's San Diego, and it rains, what, like 5-6 times a year here, and 10 inches total for an entire calendar year. One of the security guards told me he hasn't seen it rain like this in years.
Kark, are you complaining? I can't tell whether you're giving a weather report or whether you're complaining.
I'm taking Uber home. I don't even want to be in the car with both of you guys. Are singing at halftime, making fun of me that I'm wet. You're dry, enjoying the game.
That field's
toasty.
not in good
You got a
shape
heater
down
up there too?
I think Kark's mic is shorting out. We should turn that off. It's a loss to the 50-yard line for a Hill. Longy with the tackle. Second down coming up. You don't expect this in San Diego, and neither did the teams, to be honest.
That really changed the dynamics of this game in that first half, and both quarterbacks have been sharper in the second half because they could quite simply grip the football just a little bit better, and they felt comfortable throwing it downfield more. But Wyoming has to get something done on this drive, I feel, in order to have a chance.
All 3 timeouts, 17-point game. And Allen on the roll. He has decided to run quite a bit tonight and had some success. All right, 3rd and 5. Where do you go?
I'd like Gentry, number 4. He's the slot up to the top. He should be able to find a void in that zone in the back end.
It's a run instead, and Hill is driven back. Forward progress stopped at the 39-yard line. You got to go for this, right?
Yeah, I think you do, and I think that's exactly why that call was what it was. You spread it out. You try to thin out the defense and give it to Hill, knowing that you're probably in 2-down territory anyway and going to go for it right here, and Craig Bohl simply seems to be doing it.
Might have been a generous spot as well. 4th down and 2 for Wyoming. Wick in the backfield. Wick has the first down and then some to the 25-yard line. Wyoming still has a pulse as he's finally dragged down well beyond the line of scrimmage.
And Wyoming will run some RPOs, some run pass options, but this looked to be a draw from the get-go. 61, Caden Jackson pulls around and creates an opening, and that was a very good call. BYU was bringing pressure from the edges and left the middle open.
Not a great deal of urgency right now from Wyoming. Allen, that one came out wildly and incomplete. Takanaka with the coverage on Gentry. Eric Takanaka in for Hanneman, who's out with a targeting penalty.
And I think Wyoming in the pass game needs to work between the hashes a little bit more. There wasn't a receiver between the hashes until Gentry broke in there late on that low and bad throw by Josh Allen, but there's some space in the middle with 2 high safeties from BYU. You have to find a way to get some room in between the hashes.
Behind the chains, 2nd and long, and a stretch play this time for Hill, who has invited contact all night long, that time from Kai Nakua, and it's 3rd down Wyoming. Now, just pushing it forward a little bit. You do need a field goal or a 3rd score at some point in this game. So if you don't get it on 3rd down, you might think about kicking the field goal, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that would be determined by down and distance. You know, how high of a percentage, if it's a 4th down situation, you know, the down and distance, what does Craig Bohl end up with? I think that will determine whether he makes the decision to go for it or not.
Quick throw, and he's got it to Gentry. Allen to Gentry across the 10-yard line. And a 1st and goal coming for Wyoming off the hit from Takanaka.
And that's the RPO that I just talked about. We saw Sean Wick in the middle the play before, 2 plays before, and that was the run pass option, and he gave it to Wick up the middle because that was the read. You're targeting an outside defender. It's a run inside, in this case to Brian Hill, or if that defender steps inside to be added to the box, you pull it and throw it to Gentry outside like Allen did there.
Gentry up top. Hill running that direction, and not much for Brian Hill, the Wyoming running back who may be an NFL player as early as next year. He's debating possibly going into the NFL draft after this game.
Yeah, he's going to sit down with head coach Craig Bowl and his mom, and they're going to talk about that. And what the NFL does is they allow players to be evaluated. You have to submit some paperwork, and you get one of three things: first round grade, second round grade, or go back to school. And that might be the best option for Brian Hill.
Allen, end zone, Gentry got the foot in, touchdown.
That's where you see the arm talent by Josh Allen. It was a high-low concept. The tight end, Jacob Hollister, was underneath that second level, and Gentry was over the top. And then that quick release and that arm talent that you see of Josh Allen able to get that ball in there.
Another long drive for Wyoming. First touchdown drive was 8:25. This is 6.5 for the Cowboys. Tanner Gentry, who's into the end zone for the 13th time this year. The big play guy for Wyoming, makes it a 2-score game in San Diego. That's the gas lamp march at the Horton Plaza Park Amphitheater in downtown San Diego. Winner gets the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl trophy and is leaving for the time being.
That is a big trophy.
It travels well too, we found out.
We had to move it off the field because we are getting actually ready to kick the ball off, right?
Probably a tremendous idea.
Probably a good idea.
And no Jay Billis, by the way, if he's watching. The gift is not a 401k here at San Diego.
That is a good
game.
one, though.
Well done by Jay. This run for Williams across the 40-yard line. Jamal Williams breaks it into plus territory. What a game for Jamal Williams. He's over 200 yards.
Well, we knew this would be Jamal Williams' time, and when isn't it time for number 21 to carry the football? But once again, it's a physical approach by BYU on the line of scrimmage, and then he's actually calling out number 21 Antonio Hall down the field, saying, come and get some of this if you want some. And 21 has been lights out Jamal Williams all night, really. Except for that one fumble, this guy has been extremely good.
We heard it from Ty Detmer. If he touches the ball more and more, he gets even more productive, and he has absolutely been the workhorse tonight after an injury slowed him at the end of that season in the regular season.
Jay, that's a good point, and the reason why is because running backs have a feel and they have to see it. And some guys just have to see it more before they really feel it well. And Williams is one of those guys. So he's much better typically and has more production as the game goes on, particularly in the fourth quarter like we see now.
That was his 23rd carry of the night for Williams. And he checks out for the moment. Tanner Mangum's first start of the year in squally Canada, trying to get away from the first tackle. Waka finished him off, and it's third down for BYU.
And Waka got penetration that time, which was key, and blew that play up. And Wyoming hasn't done that consistently. And Waka actually might have got the, actually that wasn't Waka.
That's Gaffon.
Gaffon, and it's any part of the helmet. It's not just the face mask, so that easily could have been called. But the penetration blew that play up.
Wyoming's got a chance here. 3rd and 10. You get a stop. Who knows?
Even a turnover obviously would be better if you're Wyoming.
We've created a couple of them already today. Mangum on the roll. Gaffon chasing after him, and Mangum spikes it into the turf. Likely punt time for BYU, and Wyoming holds the line in a key moment.
Well, you just said that, and the question here is, I think, does Tanner Mangum just need to hold on to this ball, try to get what he can get, and keep the clock running? He throws this ball into the ground, the clock stops. Great effort by Gaffon that time. The defensive tackle at 6'4", 300 pounds, was chasing the quarterback outside. I think Mangum could have made a better decision and kept the clock ticking.
So Johnny Linehan trying to pin Wyoming back. He's been very good inside the 20 this year. This is returnable for Conway, and he's still short of the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that wasn't all that returnable because Wyoming was coming after Linehan that time.
Wyoming trying to climb back here in San Diego, down 10. Here's Wyoming down 10. Allen finds his way out of the pocket and has Mulhart on the sideline. Nice work by Allen to create some space, and a gain of 11 as a first down.
And Allen can do that. He's good outside the pocket, and he's an explosive player. The receiver goes down and gets this is Mulhart and makes a good catch, it appears.
All 3 timeouts conserved for Wyoming. Allen to throw. Gentry is open in front of Dion Lake at the 40-yard line. First down, Cowboys.
Good design there. 3 wide receivers out wide, and then the running back, Brian Hill, goes in motion that way, and it frees up Gentry in the middle of those receivers. Very well thrown, but it was all about the design via formation on that play.
Remember, BYU is without starting safety Micah Hanneman. He was ejected for targeting in the second half of this game. Allen under pressure, and he just slings it wide. Did he get it back to the line of scrimmage is the question. Side Tautu dragged him down, and it looked like that ball was short of the line of scrimmage.
Well, the line judge is talking about that right now, and now the flag comes out because of that very reason. It's outside the pocket, but the ball has to
Intentional
advance.
grounding. Offense number 17 was outside the tackle box, but not get the pass beyond the neutral zone extended. Lost it down. Second down.
That is a major penalty for Wyoming.
Yeah, the loss of down is really the major penalty that time. It has to get right to the 40. Josh Allen gets outside the pocket, but this ball has to go to the 40, and it literally goes to about a yard and a half short, I would say. That was very well called on the field.
2nd and 21 for Craig Bowles' Wyoming team. After a 2-win season last year, they have 8 this year, but BYU has been a staunch opponent as Butch Pau'u takes a bite out of Brian Hill, 3rd down.
Yeah, and that fooled absolutely nobody. Even if you fool them, I don't think you have time to do that at this point in time. You have to put the ball in Josh Allen's hands and throw this ball down the field.
Pau'u, an aspiring dentist, sets up 3rd down and 20. A lot of time. Allen, sideline. He's got a man. Mulhart with a first down.
Mulhart was initially going on a vertical down the sideline, and Josh Allen does a great job of climbing in the pocket, and Mulhart had coverage over the top. So as a good wide receiver will do, the adjustment is break it off and give your quarterback a chance. And Mulhart did that for Josh Allen right there.
With the rain slowing down, Allen is picking it up. 9 for 13, second half. Here comes pressure again. Allen turns the corner and ushers himself out of bounds after a short game. Josh Allen, the redshirt sophomore, in his first season as a full-time starter. He was injured last year, trying to lead Wyoming all the way back for its first win in the series in 13 years. Another delay for Hill, and it's going to be 3rd down and about 4 for Wyoming. You like that call, Kel?
I don't like that call, and that's the second time we've seen that call. And I know the theory behind it is you spread people out, you thin the box, and you think you can hit a gasher down Main Street, but BYU is too solid up the middle to allow that to happen.
It's a top 10 run defense. Hill under 4 yards a carry tonight. 3rd down for Allen. Off the pump, feeling pressure. Allen lofts it. This is a touchdown. Tanner Gentry again.
This is what Josh Allen is going to consistently bring to the table in the future at Laramie. He moves around enough to get throws off, and then he has the arm talent. This is dropping a dime over top of coverage. Dion Lake has the coverage, and then Tanner Gentry makes a great adjustment. He sees his quarterback get out of the pocket to his side, so he goes to the corner, as you're taught to do, and it was great timing and a tremendous throw by Josh Allen.
14 touchdowns this year for Tanner Gentry, 2 in the second half in San Diego. Here come the Cowboys against their rival from Provo. This is a one-score game off the Gentry touchdown. You think onside kick here, Cal?
Yeah, I think because BYU has been so successful in the second half, over 9 yards per play, I don't know that even with 3 timeouts that Wyoming gets this ball back if they kick it away.
Cooper Roth pops it up. Ball's loose, and BYU does have it. Aleva Hifo across the 30-yard line. So 2:07 as a flag comes in.
Well, Ulu Putatau is going to get called for a late hit, and it's just an absolutely boneheaded play. It was way late, it was dirty, and it's going to cost his team 15 yards in a critical time of this game.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Receiving team number 1, 15-yard penalty, first down.
It is Moroni Laulu Putatau, the sophomore wide receiver, and Kalani Sitake's team has had, early in the season especially, some unnecessary roughness penalties that he wanted to have back.
Yeah, and Kalani Sitake is lighting up Laulu Putatau right now on the sideline, as we could see. And the reason this makes a difference is if Wyoming can get a stop, even if they have to burn their timeouts, they have a better chance now to inherit much better field position on a potential punt by BYU.
Especially down only a field goal. Very important penalty against the Cougars right now. From the 16, Jamal Williams. He's been the workhorse, and he drives to the 19-yard line. Second down coming up, and Wyoming will start to burn timeouts. Second down and 6 for BYU and Williams. That's not going anywhere. Just across the 20-yard line, it's going to be third down and medium for BYU.
And Wyoming uses their second timeout. They will have 1 remaining now, but this is exactly the way you play it out. The question now becomes, on third and roughly 5.5 yards, does Ty Detmer allow Tanner Mangum to actually put the ball in the air?
Tanner Mangum very efficient last year, shy of 10 yards on throws, and he will run play action. Mangum rolling out, he takes the sack. That keeps the clock going, forces the timeout. Kevin Prosser, the sack leader for the Cowboys, took him down, and the final timeout for Wyoming. Which is more valuable, the yardage or the clock there, Kel?
I think you don't want to give up yardage like that now puts your punter in jeopardy when he has to punt the football. I think this puts Tanner Mangum in a bad situation. It doesn't give him an outlet. What you have to do is call a play if you're going to get him outside the pocket, allow him to get downhill more quickly so that he can slide in. If worst case scenario, he loses less than he did on that play. In the end, it was a good decision by the quarterback, but you don't want to lose those yards.
Conway off the line drive. Couldn't pick a side, and he's just short of midfield. It has been the touch. Allen had a game-winning touchdown in their opener against Northern Illinois in multiple overtimes to start this season. He leads the drive and swings it out for Hill with some running room. Brian Hill stays in bounds and now takes himself out on his feet on a big gain on first down on a swing pass.
And we see that rivalry kind of rearing its ugly head. It's getting chippy down there. Good decision by Josh Allen. Took his time, had the protection, looked down the field, nothing's there. Throw it out on time, on target to your running back, Hill. Gives him yards after the catch.
1:35, loads of time for Wyoming, nearing field goal range for Cooper Roth. Allen, pump fake, out of the pocket. Allen looking downfield, intercepted. Kai Nakua picks it off. A high-risk throw, and BYU's interception leader salts it away in San Diego.
So many times this year, Jason, when Kai Nakua or BYU needed a big play, it was the safety Kai Nakua that would come up with it. A former high school quarterback, his instincts and the back end in coverage are off the chart. The anticipation. And Josh Allen, the young quarterback, he couldn't afford to do either of two things, take a sack or throw the ball in harm's way, and that simply and obviously was a catastrophic decision.
Kai Nakua came into this game 6th in the nation in interceptions. He has his 6th against the first-year full-time starter.
Throw the ball away. You can't take a sack, nor can you throw it late, over the middle, into harm's way, or a guy like that, a ball hawk like Kai Nakua, is going to find it, and he's going to make you pay for it.
Step on it. Tell him to come here and just step on it. Go. Every time. Woo, woo.
Wyoming, in its last 4 bowl games, has had a first-year starting quarterback in each of them. And Allen, with a lack of experience, makes a decision. Nakua picks it off. And for BYU, a season that has been full of tragedy and drama. Taysom Hill, another season-ending injury, and Tanner Mangum in place of Hill, who finishes his career. Mangum leads them to a win in San Diego, and BYU gets its first bowl victory in 4 tries. 24-21 in San Diego. What a comeback, and BYU stands tall at the end, Kel.
We really shouldn't expect anything different than this game out of the blue blood rivalry being renewed again from 1922 to 2010. These two teams have butted heads on a regular basis in conference, and that's what we saw tonight. It was two teams that actually played quite well tonight in most cases until that last play by Josh Allen.
Downstairs, Kark with Kalani Sitake.
You like blue Gatorade?
Well, I do now, yeah, of course. I'll take it any day. As long as we get that win, I'm happy.
Kai Nakua, 6th in the FBS in interceptions, comes up with that one. Why does he always come up with big plays for you?
He's a great player. He believes in his teammates, and then, we needed a big play. He came through, so he's been doing that all year long, and just happy that he made the play for us, and proud of the guys the way they played the game. And hats off to Wyoming. They're a great team, and it was a close game, and some great weather. So it's bowl season.
Another senior for you, Jamal Williams, over 200 yards on the ground. Describe his performance.
Well, I mean, we've been missing that a few weeks, but for him to be healthy, he's got a great future. He's going to have a great future at the next level, and we just wanted him to be healthy in this game, and so we sat him a couple of weeks, and I think it paid off. So I was happy that he was able to contribute and make plays, and hats off to our guys. They played extremely hard. I'm glad they got the win.
You started the season 1-3. You won 8 of your last 9. Why did this team have the ability to turn things around?
Oh, we got great young men and great coaches that work with them, and we got a great fan base that believe and support us all the way. So we're happy to get those wins and build on this season. So I'm glad that Kai was able to make the contribution, and the seniors are able to go out winners in the bowl game.
Enjoy this first bowl win for you.
Thank you so much.
In the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl, BYU 24-21, your final score. For Paul Carcaterra, Kelly Stauffer, Jason Benetti, our entire crew. Now we go to Sports Center. Scott Van Pelt's got it for you.